Hi, I'm Dennis Potter. Welcome to this edition of Inside Crisis. There are many different models of crisis intervention that have been developed and evolved over the years. Some of them have been discounted and others have been promoted, but the ultimate question remains, are there some basic principles that should underline any response that we do, any intervention? A review of the literature is helpful, both to understand the current state of the art with respect to interventions and to understand how the information can be helpful to consultants seeking to provide the best quality of care, especially in the context of broader practices. The World Health Organization recommends types of support that can include stress management techniques, helping people to identify and strengthen positive coping methods, along with their natural support networks. But what do these prescriptions mean for consultants called upon to deliver services after a corporate disruptive event? In 2007, a worldwide panel of experts in the field of trauma published a report identifying 5 essential elements to early to mid-term response. These intervention principles represent an empirically based expert consensus after an extensive review of the research, and they identified 5 principles that should be the foundations of any intervention. And these are promoting a sense of safety, promoting a sense of calming, promoting a sense of connectedness, promoting a sense of self and community efficacy, and last but certainly not least, a sense of hope. Let's look at each of these in detail. First, promoting a sense of safety. And this means both physical and emotional safety, because there's absolutely no point in trying to emotionally or verbally process an event if the participant believes the event is still going on. So helping them realize that the immediate danger is past and they are now safe is an essential before going on to any other stage. Second, and somewhat closely related, is helping the employee to return to a more calm state. We can do this by helping them understand the freeze, flight, fight response to any kind of an event, to encourage the person to understand that they may be operating under a full steam ahead and high alert. This makes sense as they are understandably reacting to their innate survival instinct and the corresponding flood of adrenaline and other chemicals that serve to maximize survival during the crisis, but is somewhat unsettling as we are experiencing it. The third element is to help with connectedness, the realization that I'm not alone. I don't have to go through this by myself. Often after a disruptive event, people who are affected have a tendency towards a sense of isolation, the feeling like I'm the only one in the world who feels like this. And this may be especially true for people who are most intensely affected. So helping them to re-engage with the larger world, to reconnect with their family or their friends, their faith community, their coworkers, can help them to realize they don't have to walk this road alone. Fourth, the focus on self-efficacy, the belief that I am able and capable of making good decisions on my own and on my family's behalf as I chart a course of recovery. This really boils down to addressing the sense of helplessness and victimization that sometimes follows a disruptive event. We can do this by asking if they've been through a similar event or a difficult time in their lives, and what did they do that was helpful back then for getting through it. This simple reminder gets them identifying their core strengths. Being able to give them information on things other people have found helpful sometimes gives them some new ideas for handling this difficult situation. Our attitude of expectation of their ability to return to normal is critically important for this particular principle. You see, there are many different kinds of strategies for coping with a disruptive event, but they only work if you believe they will work and the person believes that they will work. Finally, the last element is hope. Tapping into the strength of the human spirit, our innate ability to rise above the circumstance and envision a future that, while perhaps not quite the same, is still a future that holds promise. Hope is recognizing there will be another tomorrow, There will be a new normal, and the future is worth pursuing. These 5 essential, empirically based and evidence-supported elements should make up the foundation for any intervention in the workplace after a disruptive event. There is clearly much overlap between practices traditionally used in the workplace crisis response and those being suggested by the R3 continuum, but there's also very important shifts in both concept and technique that must be kept firmly in mind. Our responses are meant to be delivered in a flexible manner, using strategies that meet the specific needs of the persons, the situations that each event presents. The emphasis placed on any one goal or activity is tailored to meet the needs of the client organization and the recipients that we encounter. The professional responsibility of the consultant is to work with the client organization to establish clear objectives and then to tailor the approaches applied to address those objectives both safely and effectively. Thank you for watching this edition of Inside Crisis.